Hello and welcome to Subway Builder, a game that's all about building metro lines that connect people from the places where they live to the places where they work or study, based on real life data. I have a custom map here, because the official game at this moment only includes maps from the United States and Great Britain, although they will add more maps in the near future. But I have this custom map of a Dutch region consisting of two major cities in the Netherlands, Rotterdam and The Hague, Den Haag. So, in real life, these two cities are connected not just by train but also by metro line. So I thought it would be fun to recreate this system, given the constraints of this game. So for those of you who don't know this game, as I said, it's based on real life data. So if you zoom in on a city, you will see that there are a lot of buildings in there, and roads and water, and this all comes from OpenStreetMap data. And as you build in the city, you will notice that building a metro line under a road is fine, but as soon as you cross any buildings, you will see that the game will charge you extra money for destroying those buildings, which is why this game is quite realistic. Now, I also mentioned water. There's one problem here. In this custom map, water does not work. So in the official maps, if you build below or above water, it will cost you more than if you build below or above ground. In this one, it does not work, but I will try to be as realistic as possible with the water. Now, just to give you a very quick example of how this game works, and after that I will restart this map, because this is a complete mess, destroying all these buildings. I will just add two stations here, just so you can see how things work. This station is too short. So we have a station over here, and normally I would avoid destroying buildings, but this is just for the example. We build a station over here, we connect them, we add crossovers so that the metro can go to one platform but then go back to the next one. We do that here as well. We build this, so this would cost a lot of money because we destroy all these buildings, and it doesn't make sense to go from here to here. But just to show you the example, you can add a line and connect these two stations, or connect more stations, of course, and you would have a metro line, and you will be able to soon see all the trains going back and forth in this line. So that is how this game works. We connect our stations, we build a transport network, but all based on real data. So I'm going to restart this map to see if we can create a realistic network, even though I must say that another thing that does not quite work on this custom map is the demand. There are some weird things over here, like this random village having a lot of residential demand. But you do see the two cities over here, Rotterdam over here and Den Haag over here, and some cities in between. So I will restart the map, and then we'll see if we can build a realistic metro network. Alright, we're going to start in Rotterdam, and I thought it would be good, even though these demand points are not entirely accurate. I think they do a decent job in providing something we can work with. So here you see the residential demand, and then we have the worker demand, which is really low for some reason. So this is because it's not an official map. So in the official maps, this worker demand would be much higher. But we do see some worker demand here in the center of Rotterdam and in the harbor. Also some other points in this harbor, and then over here we have some worker demand in, I believe this is Delft, the city between Rotterdam and Den Haag. And then we have, of course, Den Haag, and here's the center of this city. So what I wanted to do, because I actually gave this map a very short try already, even though it's not an official one, what I will try to do is first recreate the train line. And even though there are no trains in this game, there are two types of rails. we have heavy metro and light metro. So light metro, I believe in real life it's used for example, this city over here, Zoetermeer, which has its own above ground light rail system. I'm not sure if it's exactly the same thing. But heavy metro, it says in the game, it says that's like similar to what New York City has, while the light metro is similar to what Montreal has. I'm not familiar with the transport systems in those cities. But what I will do in this game is use heavy metro for to simulate a train, even though that's not what this game is about, and light metro to simulate metro, light rail, maybe tram, maybe bus. I'm not sure yet how far we get, but we'll start with the train system. So let me find the train stations on Google Maps. So I will be using Google Maps on the side here, and then we will start by building a railway system. I know this is the central station of Rotterdam, so this seems like a good place to start. So one problem that we run into is if we build our station over here, we will destroy the entire central station building of Rotterdam, which is not what we want. We could solve that by going really deep below ground. Then we don't have this problem, but as you see here, the costs are twice as much if we do that. So that's not what we want to do. This is actually where in real life, where the train goes. But despite that, I think it will be best because we need to be very cost efficient here. You could also play in sandbox mode, but I am trying to make an actual profit under the game's conditions. So I think we'll just put the station over here next to the central station, and then move over here, and we will move like this. So let's pretend that this is some old station that we don't want to destroy, and then over here we move into the actual railway track. So you see it goes very slowly here, 25 kilometers per hour, but after that it will go 89 kilometers per hour. So let's do that. We also need to add a crossover, and we will call this the central station, or actually Rotterdam Centraal, as is the name of the official train station. So we're going to recreate the train network over here. And the next station in real life, so normally in the game you would add a few more stations because it's a metro, but here we're recreating the railway system. So the next station in real life would be Schiedam Centrum, which I think is a bit more over here somewhere. Let me check with my Google Maps. Yeah, it should be somewhere around here. So let's see if we can get there. Here we would have a tunnel, but there's not really a way to avoid it. So as I said, water does not work, but I will keep it into account and do what makes sense. So we will go this way, tunnel in the water, and actually now would also be a good time to move above ground. Actually, let me do that much earlier already, because this is supposed to be a train. So let's move it above ground from here already. One problem is that it has this road over here. So as you see, this game is really realistic. So we run into some problems. So okay, we stay up below ground until we cross this road. Then we move above ground. And this will be a very steep uphill climb, but that's fine. It will be able to manage. And then we go in the direction of Schiedam. So now we're 5 meters above ground. We can go above roads and such. If it's 4 meters above ground or less, then this is not possible. So you need at least 5 meters to go above roads. Now this is a bridge, not a tunnel, which is also a bit more realistic, especially for a train system. And we just move and move, and let me zoom out and place the station already so we know where we need to go. Yes, it should be this should be the train station of Schiedam Centrum. Let me build that. Let's not put it on the water. So we call this Schiedam Centrum. We build our tracks, still 5 meters above ground. Funny story, I think this was this train station, or maybe the metro station that is also here in real life, where a metro um, went off the track. I forgot the details of the story, but I think it landed on some statue or something. Luckily, no one got hurt. But I thought that was over here. Alright, so now we have these two connecting stations, which are really far apart. For a metro, you would want to have many more stations in between, I think. But for a train, this makes sense. And let's see what this would cost. 300 million, we have 3 billion available. So I think we can keep going, and hopefully we will be able to reach Den Haag with our starting budget. But it is quite far away, especially for a metro. That's why I'm now building the train station. So let me check how to go next. And we just keep going in this direction over here. So we're still above ground. And this is how the real train moves. And we'll be careful to not go through any buildings. And then we need to go to the next train station, which I think is somewhere over here. This is near the University of Delft University of Technology. Actually, let me see if the game added something in terms of worker demand. It did. I think this should be close to the university. So, but we will also take the game into account. So, even if it is not, let's just say that this is the university, and we will add a train station over here, and that's what we will connect to. And we'll call this Delft Campus. Another funny story about this. This used to be called Delft Zuid, so it's the city of Delft, and it's in the south of the city, but they renamed it to Campus, even though it is, in real life, it is a bit far from the university. So, let's connect that. Okay, I've connected those two stations. I try to avoid water. I think this is, yeah, how the real life railway goes, more or less. But you see that now we have connected Schiedam Centrum with Delft Campus. And then we just move on towards Delft Central Station, which should be somewhere over here in the city center of Delft. Actually, let me check that. Yeah, this is the place of the central station of Delft. So let's see if we can build that already. And they just renewed this area a few years ago. But we call this, oh, it gave this name of the street, Stationsplein, so seems like we're in the right place. But this is just Delft Station. And then let's connect those. Let's see. We need to find a way to get across the water. Or actually, this is the station building in real life, I think. But yeah, let's see how we get there. We can keep going. Ooh, here are some buildings. They might belong to the railway, actually. Sometimes OpenStreetMap and these custom maps does it like that. We'll go around it. It slows down the train a bit, but it's fine. as long as it's not too slow. We still have some large stretches of straight lines, more or less straight lines. It's a bit difficult to get the lines to be actually straight. Oh, I made a mistake there. We do not want to destroy this building. But let's keep going this way. And then here we need to be careful and probably follow this road. So that we slow down anyway to arrive at the station, so that's okay. And this seems to line up nicely. So, Delft connected. Let's see what our current costs. 800 million. We have 3 billion available. I think we will be able to reach The Hague, Den Haag. Okay, we're not quite in The Hague yet, but I added some parts for the next thing. I needed to be a bit careful with water and buildings, even though for water it's not really necessary in this custom map. But here I had to make some curve, and we arrived here at the next station, which is Rijswijk, which is a suburb of Den Haag. And what I actually like about this is that even though this is a custom map, we see that there's a lot of residential demand around this city over here. So, and there's also some worker demand over here. So there might be some office buildings, maybe some industrial area. So that's really nice. So we have connected Rijswijk also, and we are nearing the center of Den Haag now. So we're moving to the next station, which is Den Haag Moerwijk. It is in this area over here. Let's check if that corresponds with the demand. Oh yes, very large demand bubbles, at least for residential. For worker, a bit less, that's more in the city center. But still, this would be a nice residential station to add here. And it's the first one that in real life has the name Den Haag in the name of the station. So we're still above ground. We'll keep it above ground until we reach the center. So only the actual metro and light rail systems will be below ground. So let's call this Den Haag Moerwijk. And by the way, so these are all train stations. Some trains, they visit all the stations, but some trains are express intercity trains that skip some stations. But we don't want that because we're already, using a metro railway network for a train connection. So let's not skip any stations, because they are already quite far apart for a metro system, because it's a train system. So that's Den Haag Moerwijk. The next station in the train system in real life is Den Haag Holland Spoor, which is in this area over here. Let's see if in this game it also has some demand. Oh yes, lots of residential demand and worker demand. I think there's this might be some kind of high school, University of Applied Sciences, or maybe some offices, I'm not sure. But this city is actually really big in real life, so just to represent that, let's see if we are not above the costs yet. We're over 1 billion, but we still have some budget left. To represent this, let's build a quad station, 4 parallel tracks. Usually you use this for express or local service separation. I just use it to represent that this is a larger station. We have trains from Amsterdam and from Utrecht and from Germany and Belgium coming in here in real life. So we'll do it this way. We need to be able to continue our way up, but that will be fine. We'll do it this way to see if we can go in between after this. And let's call this Den Haag. This is called Den Haag Holland Spoor. So we have 4 tracks. We won't use them right now, but maybe in the future we might. What I like to do, probably this is a bad way of going about this, I'm not that good at this game yet, by the way. But what I will do is I will extend this way and then turn it into a parallel track. So we're only using the middle 2. There's no way to connect the right 2 or anything like that. We're only using the middle 2 right right now, and we need to continue this way after. I will use this single track to connect everything up nicely. I will do that this way. And we also need to make sure that there's a crossover, maybe over here and over here. This is not possible. Let's keep going in this direction before we connect everything up. We add a crossover over here. Yes, I believe that should work. It just gives us also some more space to play around with. Not sure how the game uses it, but this is how I like to do it. And someone who's actually good at this game might think this is complete rubbish. That's fine. We want to also be realistic here, so we add a few more tracks, just so we can go in different directions from this station. And that's Den Haag Holland Spoor. Now we are at 1.38 billion. I think maybe one more station is enough, and then we will start the line. And the next train station in real life is located over here. So again, we don't want to destroy the actual station building, which would happen if we do this. Costs over 100 million. So we will add again a quad station, because this is also a really big train station in real life. Just to represent that, we will add a quad station, and we call this Den Haag Centraal, which is the endpoint of our train network over here. So that's why we don't care that we end up in this building. We are not going to continue this way, at least not with this train network. So we need to connect these two. Let's do that. And we have our parallel track over here. We need to go over water. That's okay. It doesn't cost us extra because the custom map does not calculate the water that way. Even though it is visually here, which I think is nice. And then we need to connect these, but not go through these small buildings, whatever they are. Maybe some station building. We connect this up, or actually let's use a quad line as I did with the other one, and then we connect this up. We add a crossover over here somewhere, maybe at this point, and then we add some single tracks to connect everything up. Okay, that's not possible. Let's do it a different way. Add a crossover over here, then single lines to connect these. Like this, and then we have our endpoint. So let's see if everything works. We also actually need to build this, but it cost 1.5 billion. We have 3 billion. Let's build all the blueprints. And then we have our first line over here. Quite long for a metro line, but again, this is a train line. And now we need to check if it is possible to connect these up, because in the game it's sometimes a bit difficult. Let's make it yellow, because the Dutch railways have yellow and blue as their main colors. And let's call this the train line, or maybe something shorter looks nicer. Maybe just T for train, I don't know. And let's use squares for trains, because later we will have the circles for the actual metro. So T, and then we need to edit it, and we will start here at Rotterdam Centraal. We move back and forth through all these other stations, and already it cannot find a valid path. So something went wrong already. I think we are missing a crossover here. That's the problem. Let's do that. Crossover at Rotterdam Centraal. Build, and then let's try again. We start at Rotterdam Centraal. I'm thinking back, maybe I should have made this a quad station also, because this is a really big train station in real life. But it's too late for now. It's very difficult to change those things. Now it works. You go to Schiedam Centrum, then Delft Campus, then Delft, then Rijswijk, Den Haag Moerwijk, Den Haag Holland Spoor. We take the middle path, and then Den Haag Centraal, where let's say we also take the middle path over here. We only need one. It cannot find a valid path. Something went wrong. Maybe this outer platform? Also not. So maybe because this crossover is so far away. Let's confirm this first. Let's add a crossover here. Maybe that helps if we want to go through the middle path. And then we add this final station, Den Haag Centraal. Yes, that works. So it goes into the platform, it crosses to a different one. Alright. So, that is our first line. Now hopefully we make a profit because we spent quite some money. And of course, even in the official map, this game is not that realistic in terms of how much money you gain, because in real life, roads or railways, they don't really make profit. They are just a public service. And let's increase our service frequency to have 2 trains an hour. Let's start with 2 trains an hour, both during the rush hours and during the day. And we will not have a night service yet, because I found that only in really busy cities a night service is profitable. But maybe later we will add it, even if it is not profitable. But we need to make some money first. So let's see what happens now. We have our first line, and we should have a train somewhere. Let's see if we can find it. It should be in this line. Ah, no, because it's night. It's currently night. Let's speed things up to see what happens in the morning. So now people are coming in. You see that they are walking towards the station over here, and let's investigate them. So these people, they want to go to Den Haag, which is really nice because we made this train line for them. They live over here. They walk all the way from here to the station. I know in real life there is also a train station a bit more in this direction, so we can add that later. But at least it seems to be working. People are actually coming to our train station. Where are our trains? There are only... Ah, here's a train. You see it is picking some people up. It's dropping them off. And then all we need to do is make sure we have a profit. But it seems like it will take a while before we know this for sure. But it seems like we made a profit at 5 o'clock, at 6 o'clock also, because we have more revenue than expensive. So things are working out. So I'll just keep this running for a little bit at the max speed, and then we can look at some statistics, see if we need to make any changes, or if we would extend our train line or add a metro line. So I've kept our line running for a little while, and as you can see over here, we are making a really nice profit every day. So I think what we can do is we could either extend the rail line, because this train is going further in this direction, where there was also some demand, as we saw over here, quite large ones in fact. But what I want to actually do is work on the real-life metro now in Rotterdam. So what we see is both here, which is near the famous bridge in Rotterdam, this Erasmusbrug, both here and here, we have quite some work in demand. This is the south area of Rotterdam. And I want to start on an actual metro that moves south from the central station over here. So let's see if we can try that. And for that, as I said, I want to use the light rail, the light metro, modeled after Montreal for moderate capacity routes. I want to use that for metro, and the heavy metro I use for trains in real life. So I have never done this before, but the way I think transfers work is you just build a station nearby another station. Because we cannot build light metro starting from this station, that doesn't work. The game will say, uh, well, first of all, it's underground, but even if it was underground, it will say that you cannot connect tracks of different types. So, what we need to do is we need to add another station, and I will just build it next to it. So in real life, this is the train station, and the metro station would be somewhere over here. I will just build it next to this one. But I think we might need to go in the south direction. Let me check that with the map. Okay, we need to actually move in the south direction at this roundabout over here. So, what we can do is we can build a train station, which is actually the metro station. You see it is also a bit shorter. And maybe we can fit it in right next to the trains. That would be perfect. So, need at least 4-meter vertical clearance between other tracks and stations. Oh, so we could actually also build it below it. But I think right next to it is fine. And let's make that one a quad station. We have some space over here. So this will be everything for metro. And then we will build a quad track. This way we change it into parallel track like this. Connect it up. Make sure there's a crossover here and also somewhere over here. The parallel track. Maybe there. A bit far, but that's fine. We build a single track to connect everything up. And then we move on with our parallel track. So, as I said, we need to go south here. That's how the metro goes. And then I will check what is the next metro station. Turns out the next metro station is right here already. It is called Stadhuis. So let's recreate that, but let's first check if there is actually any demand. It is a bit close to the central station, but maybe people who live over here need to walk a bit less far for that. So let's build it anyway. We will have Stadhuis Metro over here, which is the municipality of Rotterdam. Ah, this is too sharp, so we might need to delete this track. Delete tracks, and then see if we can make the curve. This works. It's slow, but fine because it's stopping anyway. And we call this Stadhuis Station. Then the next metro station is over here in this area. But this seems very complicated with all the buildings. So we'll need to see if we can squeeze through this gap over here maybe, or through the road. Let's see what is possible. The road is a no-go, and the gap also a no-go. So I think this will be a situation where we cannot avoid destroying some buildings. So then it's a question of which building do we destroy. Here there's only really small ones, they cost less than $500,000. So we can try that. There's also a warning sign, but I'm running at too high speed to see. These ones are $1 million, so that's a shame. But I think that is a sacrifice that I am willing to make. And we will go this way. But then we might get stuck. Luckily these are all blueprints, so I can change these at any time until we have actually clicked build blueprints on the left. Aha, I see something. This looks like a building, but it's not. So we can go 5 meters below this building. Another option would be to go 10 meters. Because if you're 10 meters below, you can go through below everything, basically. That would be another option. But I saw that this one building is a bit of a ghost building, that sometimes it has problems, sometimes not. So that could be something. Let's see. if we go like this, and then we destroy this one building and this one building, then I think we will be fine. Then all we need to do is add the station. This is a bit puzzling. Let's add the station over here. And this is quite a large metro station. It's called Beurs. So we'll make it quad. Although I think we won't have the space for it. So let's make it parallel anyway. And then let's see how we get there. We will slow down, but that's okay. As long as we can make the curve, we will be fine. Here it's too sharp, but we can also move the station a little bit, because this is still a blueprint. So let's build the station like this. Alright, we managed. We call this Beurs, even though it's not at exactly the same place as in real life. In real life it would be more over here, but there are too many buildings of the metro station in the way. Then next up would be Station Leuvenhaven, which is just before crossing this Maas River over here. It is a bit close to this station, but I think it will be fine if there is enough demand, and because water does not work, people from this island, for example, could also go over there. I think it will be worthwhile to add another station if possible. So let's try. We will add the station right here. And this is called Leuvenhaven. And then we will connect it. Avoid these buildings. There's a really small building over here that we need to avoid. Hopefully that worked out. I think it did. And then we need to go in between these and onto this station. And the next station is just across the river. So now we go under the river because we are at -5. It makes sense, we're a metro. And we go in this direction, and then we can add a station over here if there is demand, but seems like there is. And even worker demand because there's a University of Applied Sciences here. So let's build a station. This one is called Wilhelminaplein. So in an official map, what you would see now, as we are moving below water, is you would see that you would be charged extra for going underwater or above water. In this case, because it's a custom map and the water doesn't work, that is not the case. But still, we keep it realistic and not go through water everywhere. So the next train station, or metro station, is over here. It's called Rijnhaven. Let's see how the demand works, because maybe we should not have it. I think the demand is pretty realistic anyway, even though this is not an official map. So we keep it. And our goal is now to move to this place over here, which is Zuidplein. But there are some stations in between, because it is a metro after all, not a train. So let's build our next station. Rijnhaven. I think I will go on the left side, the west side over here. So this is Rijnhaven. It's called Maashaven, but Maashaven is over here. So this one we call, actually I like this name. It's not the official name of the official station, but Maashaven Noordzijde makes sense. And then we have another Maashaven station over here. let's call this the actual Maashaven, or maybe Maashaven. Yeah, let's call it Maashaven. Then we connect these up. So here it is a bit easier, it seems. We can connect them without too much trouble. Let's also check our budget, because this will cost 500 million, which we have, so that's fine. And then after Maashaven, we will be at Zuidplein over here. And let's see where the demand bubble is. For workers, it's over here. So we need to go over these roads, or below these roads, I should say, because we're a metro. It's always a bit difficult to start going straight. I've played on some American maps, and in the United States the roads are so straight. You can literally go like across an entire map like this and you will not touch any buildings if you line it out correctly, just because everything is laid out in such a straight pattern. Very different from these European cities. Now, we need to find a good spot for the station. I think over here is a nice place. So let's do that. Then we build our tracks. And we have managed to avoid touching any buildings over here. We add a crossover, as for now this is our endpoint. In real life the metro goes a bit further. We can extend it later. But I think this would be a good point to build our actual metro line. So we built it. Then we need to add a line. And we have a new route. Let's call this line A, and we'll make it dark blue. It's a circle to indicate that it's a metro, and we'll edit the route. We start at this station. I made it wrong. This should not be heavy metro, this should be light metro. You can see here all the differences between the two. I think the costs are a bit lower. The capacity is also lower, but that's okay. We remove this. We make a dark blue A line that is light metro. Okay, so now we can start at the actual Rotterdam Centraal station over here, which has the wrong name. Oh, let's cancel. Let's change the name of this station to Rotterdam Centraal Metro, just to distinguish. Then we edit this route. We go from here to Stadhuis. Hopefully that works. Yes, it does. It needs to go back also. Back and forth here, which has this weird curve over here due to all the buildings of the actual metro station. But that's okay. Then over here, over here, over here, Maashaven, and then we end at Zuidplein, which I still need to change the name of. It's called Metroplein now. I like Metroplein. I did not give it this name. I did it automatically. I think that's a nice name. So we're not exactly the same as in real life, but it works. Then we need to define how often does the metro come, and we need to buy more train cars. So let's buy some. Maybe 10, I don't know. Then we'll say that during rush hour we have every 13 minutes there's a train. It's fine for now. During the day also, and then nothing during the night hours, which start after 8 already. Maybe 1 after 8 o'clock, just so we can see if there is any demand for it. Alright, let's run this. Here we see our metro. And it seems to be working, but only after a while will we see how well it is working, and if there are actually any people using it. So it's almost 6 o'clock when, and we see the first passengers arriving at this Metroplein, which is actually Zuidplein, and they need to go all the way over here.
So I guess, how do they do? Can we see how they move? There is a way that this game is really extensive. There should be a way to see how they are going by transit. Actually, here it says they will take the line A first, then take the train, and then they walk 25 minutes. Look, here there's an entire route for them. So, they walk from their home over here to Metroplein. They ride the A line, which is the metro line, at 5:44. And then they walk for 0 minutes from Rotterdam Centraal metro to Rotterdam Centraal. Then they take the train for 24 minutes. And then they arrive in Den Haag, which seems really realistic. I think this is very similar to what happens in real life. It should be about a 24-minute ride from Rotterdam to Den Haag by train. If you stop everywhere in between. If you don't, then it's faster. It's like 12-15 minutes or something, I think. And then from Den Haag Centraal, they move to their work over here. And let's see, are there many people? There are many people that live there. And there are quite some people that work there. So yeah, this is really nice. We seem to have some capacity issues, so we can add more trains even on this metro line. And yeah, we see quite some people over here as well, going from this area over here where they live, also to Den Haag over here, or actually more in the Rijswijk area. So, the network seems to be taking shape. It seems to work. We don't have any... Yeah, we have some social media comments already that are generated in this game. So, some people complaining why there's a station somewhere but not in their own neighborhood. Some transit nerd. The T-line spans 15 stations. Meanwhile, Main Street is packed like sardines. We need more trains. I don't know where Main Street is. I don't think it exists in this area. Just took the T-line from Rotterdam Centraal. Smooth ride. 16 stations now open. Latest is Maashaven Noordzijde. 2 routes serving 35,000 riders. So, the game works. And next time I will either extend the metro line or the train line. Probably add another metro line in a different direction. But we'll see how it goes. Thank you all for watching. And I'll see you next time.